And we are about ready to get underway at the University of Tampa. Friday night softball action between the Tampa Spartans and Palm Beach Atlantic Sailfish. A potential historic night for the Spartans as they resume conference play. Last time out, Tampa was able to complete a doubleheader sweep against Caldwell, winning 11-0 and 7-2. From here on out until the postseason, it's Sunshine State Conference triple header matchups, although they are separated by a night's rest. This weekend, the Spartans take on Palm Beach here on Friday and also twice on Saturday. I'm Taylor Storthy alongside Bruce Orsniak. I almost called myself Bruce Orsniak for a sec.
I'm sure we're in store for another exciting night of softball here at the Namoli Family Stadium. The Spartans, gosh, you look at it every game that we come in here, and you just can't believe the one-loss record, 23-1, 19 victories in a row. Palm Beach Atlantic, an arch rival from down in West Palm Beach, they're 8-6, and this is a point in their season where they need and want to string together a bunch of victories in a row. And so the start of, as you mentioned, 3 games in less than 24 hours, and obviously the Sailfish are going to come in here very hungry as they lead off.
They'll hope to end the Spartans' winning streak and improve their conference record to 3-4. Palm Beach Atlantic came off of a successful series against Kutztown back last Friday against the 21st ranked team in the nation. As DiMartino can't field that, it'll be a leadoff base hit !error for Lauren O'Brien to start off for the Sailfish. Palm Beach Atlantic are coming off of a split series against the 21st ranked team in the nation, but now they have to face the second ranked Spartans here on Friday.
And they also have to face Gwen McGinnis, who has just been amazing in 2025. A 9-0 one-loss record. She's pitched 53 1/3 innings and an eye-popping 0.79 earned run average. So they're fortunate to get their leadoff hitter on base against the tough Gwen McGinnis.
Yeah, a stellar start to the season for McGinnis. Part of a 3-headed monster in the Spartans rotation alongside Mariah Galehouse and Kate DeSimone, who should see action later this weekend in the circle. They're both going to visit the plate later today. DeSimone's the designated player on offense, and Mariah Galehouse, the two-way specialist, is out in right field. Now the count is 2-1 to Zimmerman, who's at the plate for Palm Beach Atlantic. She'll get ahead 3-1 now. So far this season, Olivia Zimmerman has had mixed results. A 211 average, 250 on base, and 211 slugging percentage. I'm a little surprised she wasn't trying to bunt to move the runner over, but now the count goes full.
She's a 6-foot freshman and literally stood out to me during the national anthem. You see her towering over her teammates as they were lined up on the first base line.
Fly ball into right field. Galehouse gets it, and back to first safely as the base runner, avoiding the double play.
You know, you talked the other day, Taylor, about something that we just saw there. What looks like a routine fly ball, but great job by Mariah Galehouse to get it back to first base. And in that instance, O'Brien had to really dive back to the bag in time because Galehouse right on target, throwing back to Solt and unable to get to her. But that is very, very realistic.
It certainly was, and Brian was ready to try to make it all the way to third base on that fly ball if it had dropped for a bloop single. But she had to quickly turn around and make it back because that right field arm of Galehouse is certainly something you have to respect because she is also, of course, a stellar pitcher in the circle with a .59 ERA this season. Part of that extremely strong Spartans rotation that as a team have a 1.11 ERA. DiMartino holds on to the ball, but it takes 4 or 5 bounces before she corrals it. So 2 aboard and 1 away. Although that time I imagine it'll be a fielder's choice or a base hit. And it will be the latter, first hit for the Sailfish.
Still a challenging start for McKenna DiMartino nonetheless. And when you're a freshman, you're already putting all kinds of pressure on yourself to begin with. And when balls like that don't bounce your way, it really gets challenging. And you do have to learn to shake those off, especially when it's only the first inning. There's a lot more softball to be played here. So you just got to move on and hope that those are behind you.
And you think the first ground ball was more just of DiMartino making You could call it like a freshman mistake, just a little miscue on the bounce. That was just a really difficult play, though. She was ranging backwards to try to make a backhanded grab, and credit to DiMartino, she kept it right in front of her, so there was no chance for runners to advance. As the count goes 1-2, the high fastball by McGinnis doesn't get a swing by Maceda.
I agree with you 100% on what you just said, but as a competitor, you're still going to blame yourself, and you're still going to say, I could have done something differently. And that's why I say McKenna DiMartino's just got to shake it off. And let's not forget, I mean, there's plenty of opportunity here for a double play.
She and the Spartans infield will be ready. The 1-2 floated into foul territory, and it is caught by Alexa Russo. Braving the sun and braving the dugout fence to make the catch. That's going to bring up the number 11 of Marley Zier to the plate. Zier has a bit of a power threat on her bat, a .442 slugging percentage, and one of the 3 home runs the Sailfish have hit so far this season.
Another one, standing 6'0", a big target in that batter's box for McGinnis.
And that is good news for McGinnis. She is a strikeout specialist with over 55 strikeouts this season. And players with larger strike zones, they're easier to strike out because there's more chances that a high or low pitch is going to remain in that zone. Makes it tougher for a player like Zier, who's trying to stay alive on the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Gets the fastball by her. And even though Palm Beach Atlantic capitalized off a couple of good infield bounces to put 2 aboard, McGinnis gets out of the jam, taking us to the bottom of the first. And we're back at the University of Tampa, the bottom of the first, set to begin. It's a busy weekend for Spartan sports, from the swimming national championships in Indianapolis to U-Tampa basketball teams beginning basketball tournament play. And of course, here at Namoli Family Stadium, the first of a 3-game series for U-Tampa softball. And Bruce, if the Spartans are able to win this game today, they will have the all-time longest school winning streak in softball history with 20 wins in a row.
And to do so, they'll have to solve Lacey Marty, the right-handed pitcher, a senior, getting the start here for the Sailfish. She's got a 0.54 earned run average, a 2-0-1 loss record, and has pitched 13 innings this season. One of 6 pitchers on the roster, something that we don't see very much of.
Yeah, the Sailfish have a very deep pitching staff. A ton of players who have been in the circle and have started games. In total, they've got Lacey Marty, Lauren Allen, Riley Little, Ashlyn Storms, and Karen Vasquez, who have all had at least one start, and most of them have had multiple. Throw to first, Fantone beats it by half a step. A little miscue by Sibbett puts the Spartans' leadoff player aboard.
Nice shot in the arm for the Spartans there to get the leadoff runner aboard. And good base running by the senior Fantone to beat out that throw for an infield hit.
Here's the rest of the Spartans' order. It's a standard Spartan starting 9 with Lily Keister now at the plate. Kenna Kreidler on deck. Kreidler will have a runner in scoring position and a runner at first as Keister beats the throw. A perfect sacrifice bunt that ends with her on first.
And I just said the same thing the other day when we saw that play happen, which is that there are a lot of instances where the Spartans will put themselves in a position for a sacrifice bunt and end up being safe And so here they are on the bottom of the first with their first two leadoff runners aboard.
Tampa is vicious when it comes to their small ball style. It feels like anyone on the Spartans team can be reliably depended upon to put down a bunt. Whenever they're asked to, they usually get it very nicely down in front of home plate or down the line. Very rarely do you see the Spartans making a miscue when advancing a runner like that. And like you said, more often than not, it'll also lead with a Spartan runner being safe on the play. Now, Kreidler, unfortunately, gets a little too much under this one. Fantone will stay put, as that is the first out of the inning. That'll bring up the 4 batter, Mariah Galehouse. And Galehouse is always a dangerous player, but this season has been on fire. 371, 500, 581 slash line.
Lily Keister was ready to run there, but unbeknownst to her, Lauren Fantone was not. And I think that Fantone had the right idea. I was kind of surprised to see Keister starting her engines.
I believe maybe over at first base, Keister thought it was a little deeper in the outfield than it actually was. Hetmanek did a really good job of getting to the base up softball as it was falling. Here's the 0-1 to Galehouse. Down the line and caught! Throw back, won't go. Really nice diving grab by Shear. Saves a run.
Tremendous catch. Great play over there by Zier. And just like that, after getting the first 2 runners aboard, the Spartans all of a sudden have 2 outs.
Russo to try to keep the inning going. Marty was quickly able to get 2 straight outs. There was a little infield conversation after the sacrifice bunt was successful in putting 2 aboard for Marty and the rest of the Sailfish team. And there has been an immediate bounce back for Marty. That's going to be chopped on the ground and will stay foul. I took, I think, a foul bounce behind home plate before hitting the infield. Hence, Russo staying put and not as much urgency from the Sailfish defense. 1-1 count. Russo gets hit on the foot. That'll load the bases for Abby Solt.
Yeah, as that one came in, it looked dangerously close and did, in fact, end up hitting her. And so bases loaded, although 2 outs. And this is a situation for Abby Solt where she can really break things open in what you can already tell, Taylor, is going to be a really competitive game.
Ball 1 for Abby Solt, and this is a big at-bat for Solt and for Marty. Marty's a senior out of Birmingham, Alabama, and also has to face an extremely strong graduate student in Abby Solt. Solt arrived to the Spartans out of Valdosta State. Had an incredible time with the Blazers. Definitely remember her from different postseason and regular season matchups against the Spartans. And she has delivered so far with a solid start to the season. As the count goes 2-1, Solt has also had 2 home runs here at home, clearing the fences at the notoriously home run unfriendly Namoli Family Stadium.
Palm Beach Atlantic clearly with the mindset of we didn't drive more than 3.5 hours just to say we were there. They've really come to play. And if Marty can get them out of this jam, that would be a real shot in the arm. Coming away scoreless after 1 if she can close out Solt.
The 3-1, and she won't be able to get the call. Tampa takes the lead as Solt gets her 18th walk of the season. And while Solt is known for her power, she has been extremely strong at getting very strong advantage counts and getting on base. With her 18th walk of the season, her 19th free pass via walker hit by pitch.
Fantone scores the run.
That'll bring up another pitcher in Kate DeSimone, who is playing as a designated player today. Has started to improve a bit at the plate after a slow start to the season. Has a 400 batting average now as we have a conference in the circle for Marty.
So the updated base running situation, Solt is on first, Russo on second, and Keister on third. And we are in the number 7 slot right now with DeSimone. And head coach Ty Singleton wants to settle down Lacey Marty. I'll tell you, looking over the roster, you can tell that Ty Singleton has really scoured the country. Never mind the players from Florida, but Georgia, Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, heck, the corner state, as I like to call it, Washington.
The second pitch hits the zone, and the count goes 1-1 for DeSimone. But it's always good when you're a school and you're really able to expand your recruiting sphere outside of sort of the local area, but to get players, like you mentioned, 2 from Washington, a couple from Alabama and other locations as the count goes 2-1.
Of course, let's be honest, it's not too hard to recruit someone to come to Florida, whether it's Tampa or West Palm Beach.
That is very true.
Especially if you have a winning program.
And that also helps, too. The warm weather, just the cherry on top, as the Spartans are down to their final strike in the inning. A 2-2 count to DeSimone. Might have to be ready to protect here as Marty looks to escape the jam. Down the line, that is fair, and that can clear the bases. 1 run scores, 2 runs score. DeSimone's going to make it to third. A bases clearing triple, and DeSimone puts the Spartans in front by 4.
Amazing, amazing response by Kate DeSimone. You had said down to their last strike, and she came in back and said unless, and smacks that one just inside the line down right field.
The first pitch is hit to third, picked up at short. DiMartino out by half a step. Now that is one of the most impressive infield assists you'll see. Shearer couldn't come up with it. Rodriguez does get the final out of the inning as Tampa is going to waltz out of the first with 3 hits and 4 runs. A massive start to the ballgame. So Palm Beach now in a little bit of trouble as Tampa put up 4 runs in the first inning with the bases clearing triple by Kate DeSimone. That's a cool thing about the Spartans pitching staff. Their players aren't just good in the circle, they're also really good at the plate. There's strike 1 to Little.
Yeah, for DeSimone, bears repeating, as I had mentioned, to be down to your final strike and answer that way, a bases clearing triple, just tremendous, and a great momentum swing if you're the Spartans, and a really tough way to start the game if you're the Sailfish. That close to getting out, being down only 1-0.
It's certainly good as well for Gwen McGinnis, who got into a little bit of trouble in the first inning, had 2 runners on at first and second with 1 away. McGinnis was able to get out of the jam, including a strikeout to end the inning. That almost was strikeout number 2 as that missed outside to make it 2-2. But it's always better when you leave an inning scoreless and then respond with a big inning on offense on the other end. So it is, unfortunately, however, for Palm Beach, bad news for Marty. 13 innings had only given up 1 run. Tampa changed that in just 2/3 of an inning by making her have now 5 runs in total allowed over 14 innings on the circle. Second strikeout for McGinnis. That's going to bring up Sibet.
And just one more point on the Spartans' bottom of the first. Kate DeSimone now 5 for 11 on the season. So as you mentioned, really answering the call from the batter's box as much as she does from the pitching circle.
I think that Coach Cantor was experimenting throughout the start of the season with different players kind of in that designated player role, and I think she's starting to settle in with DeSimone here as the season's progressing. she's been a long-term utility player for the Spartans, whether it's in the circle last year having made the full jump to the rotation and also playing occasionally first base or I think once or twice corner outfield, but always good when you have a versatile player, and a lot more often they're like DeSimone where they're not super prolific on offense, but they can give you those clutch base hits. Meanwhile, there's another McGinnis strikeout, 2 away.
That was Rhiannon Sibbett, junior from Kelso, Washington, and she's out number 2 here in the top of the second. And that brings up their number 8 hitter, which is Caitlin Campbell, their left fielder.
First pitch to Campbell, fouled away. Campbell's had a good season, started all 14 games so far for the Sailfish. Has 3 RBIs on the year and is tied for the team leads in hits alongside Lauren O'Brien with 16. That is not going to be number 17. She is down to her final strike in the inning. Slugging .405, gets on base at a .395 clip. Only 1 extra base hit this year for Campbell. But she is speedy, has 3 stolen bases. And you can tell she is being very aggressive in protecting, just trying to put a ball on the ground, get the Spartans infield active on defense, try to beat the throw. That's how Palm Beach had both their base runners. Ground balls that were bobbled or hard to pick up by DiMartino. And that one's going to be blooped and caught by Reynolds. An easy catch in the infield. McGinnis shuts down the Sailfish in order, bringing the red-hot Spartans offense back to the plate. 4-0 Tampa leads through 1.5. And we're back at the University of Tampa's Namole Family Stadium. As we get started in the bottom of the second, would like to give a quick little congratulations to Jacob Hamlin as part of the U-Tampa swimming team. He's just won his 3rd national title, his 4th overall at the D2 National Championships, and sent an NCAA record in the process. And speaking of records, Tampa's not fighting for an NCAA record tonight, but 20 wins in a row would be a Spartans softball record if they can hold on to this 4-run lead or expand it with Reynolds at the plate. She's now down 1-1 after that swing and miss.
Yeah, big swing and miss there for Kenzie Reynolds. And she's hitting 188 this season.
That'll be up the middle. Could improve the average, if not for an impressive grab by Rodriguez. Ebony Rodriguez makes the stop, a spinning turn and throw on a very nice pickup.
Yeah, that's one that you put on the defensive highlight reel for the season, or certainly a personal highlight reel for Ebony Rodriguez.
Bad news for Reynolds, but I think she'd agree that was a very impressive play on the dirt by Rodriguez, who made a very good stop at the end of the previous inning, too. DiMartino, on her first offering, hit the ball over to Shear at the hot corner, but it bounced away, and Reynolds was still able to pick it up and then get the ball back to first in time.
This is Lauren Fantone for the Spartans, 2-0. To her, she's 1 for 1, having singled to start the game.
And that might not be another single, because it's quickly picked up at second. Sibbett gets out number 2, and that'll bring up Lily Keister with 2 away, and Marty having a quick start to the second inning. An important rebound.
And that's what Marty wanted after the Spartans really broke things open in the bottom of the first, and it's going to be very important in keeping the Sailfish in this, that she quiets the Spartans' bats and limits them to the offense that they showed in the first inning. As Keister fouls that one off. She also singled in the first inning.
Tampa as a team boasts a 1.11 ERA, so the less damage you can concede against the Spartans, the better. 4 runs, not ideal, but you'd rather keep it at 4 if you've already conceded 4. She has Keister down to her final strike. So 0-2 for Lily Keister. Marty in the driver's seat. Corners playing in. That'll miss away. Nice breaking ball. Slides away from the zone, though. 1-2. Marty gets the sign from Maseda. That's going to be hit to third. A 1-2-3 inning for the Sailfish. 3 quick ground outs. Palm Beach are back at the plate in the top of the third when we come back. Tampa, Palm Beach Atlantic, continuing the top of the third. I'm Taylor Storworthy alongside Bruce Wozniak. And Tampa holding on to a 4-0 lead. McGinnis back in the circle. 3 strikeouts already in 2 innings. And Bruce, it was a very good second inning for Gwen McGinnis, striking out 2 and then getting a quick out to make it 1-2-3 against the Sailfish offense.
And what the Sailfish do not want is for McGinnis to really find her groove, and it seems like she's well on her way. They need to solve her quickly before time gets away from them, already trailing 4-0.
McGinnis with 59 strikeouts now on the season. The team leader by a comfortable margin, and might have number 60 coming up next. A swing and a miss by Hetmanek, who has had a somewhat busy day in center field, making a couple of catches already. But here has to face the superstar at the plate. And that's a swing and a miss. 60 strikeouts for Gwen McGinnis in 2025.
That's 2 consecutive pitches that she really fooled Hetmanek with.
Hetmanek was, I think, a little too hyper-focused on the fastball there from McGinnis, which has been one of her best offerings. And that allowed the off-speed stuff to get big whiffs. And there's that fastball for strike 1 against O'Brien, who started the game advancing on an error. Swing and a miss, 0-2. Almost unhittable stuff here from McGinnis. Already 2 strikes to O'Brien.
O'Brien's a freshman right fielder from up in Long Island. Staying alive here, trying to figure out Gwen McGinnis as there's an 0-2 count staring at her and bases empty. Her team already trailing by 4.
And did she go? No, she did not. Good check swing by O'Brien. That fastball had a little extra kick to it on the outside corner. But O'Brien stays in the fight, still trailing 1-2. That one's blooped and caught by Reynolds. A harmless pop-out for the second one of the inning. And that'll bring up Zimmerman back to the plate for the Sailfish.
I'm watching for the Spartans players to thank Gwen McGinnis. She's making it easy on them so far.
Swing and a miss for strike 1. I wish I was keeping track of the amount of swings and misses so far. Has to be in the double digits today for McGinnis, but that has been the norm for McGinnis so far this season, as she now gets ahead 0-2.
Yeah,
She's
easily double digits for sure.
McGinnis is coming off of a pretty big performance. I believe it was last against Adelphi or against Caldwell. It was one of those two teams that she was absolutely stellar in the circle. Against against Adelphi, she went the distance, striking out 9. That's going to be lined up the middle and caught in center field. She did not feature against Caldwell, but is featuring here against Palm Beach Atlantic and has kept them scoreless for 3 straight innings with 4 strikeouts. Keister getting that final one to take us to the bottom of the third. Due up for the Spartans, the heart of the order: Kreidler, Gilhouse, Russo. Kenna Kreidler steps up to the plate for the Spartans as we begin a brand new inning. And we do have a change in the circle. Marty done after 2 innings. They'll bring on Riley Little, the team's best strikeout arm. Although I'll have to double check if that is indeed the number 12 or no. No, it is Marty. Okay, so I was just seeing things incorrectly. She misses her first pitch, though. From this angle, the 7 looked very much like a 2 to me. I do not know why, because the number 2 is actually Sibbett, the second baseman. 1-0, hit to short, but that is a very nice grab and nice throw by Rodriguez. Shortstop has been a black hole today, sucking everything up and getting outs left and right. That is her 3rd putout of the game, and a little less flashy than the other 2, but Rodriguez has been lethal there.
This is a big inning for Marty because you do have, as you mentioned, the 3, 4, 5 hitters. If she can get through these 3, Sailfish need to start finding some offense. They can start to feel a little bit better about themselves. As much as we've talked in the past, Taylor, about Spartans, no real weak spots in the order. Obviously, the 3, 4, and 5 hitters is where you really want to do some shutdown work. Whatever team it is that's coming in here. And so a big opportunity here for Marty, especially with 1 out and now 2 strikes against Galehouse.
And it's always big when you can get ahead in the count against a player like Mariah Galehouse, a Spartan legend in every definition of the word. She'll stay alive, 1-2. The changeup missing away from Marty. Galehouse was out previously on a line drive that was caught at third base. That time sends it foul just past the Spartan bullpen. Getting set. The 1-2's hit up the middle, bounces to the second base player and rolls to the outfield as it evaded Sibbett on its way to Hentmanek. A single by Mariah Galehouse.
Yeah, that ball reminded me a lot of the one that McKenna DiMartino had challenge her in the first inning, in that it just took a couple of strange hops. First in the pitcher circle and then near second. And Mariah Galehouse will take it after having been down in the count.
You love it when you get on base any way you can. Russo might score Galehouse on this play. Picked up at center field. They're going to hold Galehouse up at third as Russo safely standing with a massive double to advance the base runners. perfectly placed into the gap. Although, Hetmanek, you got to give her some credit. That was a nice job getting to it, fielding it, and making sure Galehouse couldn't score. 8 times out of 10, you expect Tampa to score from first on that play.
And I can hear the Sailfish fans all the way down in West Palm Beach yelling broadcaster's curse because I was talking about trying to get through the 3, 4, 5 hitters. And all of a sudden, Spartans have runners on second and third and only one out.
The good news for the Sailfish, they're out of the 3, 4, 5 hitters. Bad news is someone even scarier in Abby Solt has stepped up to the plate. This Tampa lineup is extremely deep. From top to bottom, dangerous players, whether it's speed, offense, or clutch base hitting ability. And Solt sends that one foul as she'll fall behind 0-2, bringing a souvenir to the Palm Beach bullpen. Marty would love a second out here. Kate DeSimone, who had a massive base hit with the bases loaded last time, is due up.
One thing about the Spartans team, they don't let up. Up 4-0, they see these 2 runners in scoring position, and they are very apt to go for the jugular in situations like this.
Line drive up the middle, that'll score 1. They will send Russo to the plate, and no, she wisely holds up at third. There was a cannon from Hetmanek that would have gotten her out at the plate, so instead it's just an RBI single for Solt that puts runners at the corners with 1 away. And like you said, Bruce, Tampa not satisfied with 4. They'll be happier with a 5-run and potentially 6-run lead should they bring Russo home. And I think they're bringing on a pinch runner here maybe. It'll either be for Russo or Solt or maybe both. And
well, either way, things are going from bad to worse for the Sailfish because still just the 1 out. And the Spartans now with runners on the corner. And as you mentioned, who should come to the plate but Kate DeSimone, who had that bases clearing triple in the first inning. And so no surprise to see Ty Singleton out there talking with not only his pitcher, but is he making a change? He is.
Yeah, on the way from the dugout to the circle looks to be Ashland Storm. So that'll be it for Marty, as Palm Beach will bring in a different arm to try to get out of the jam. We could see Lacey Marty re-enter the game later, but it'll be Ashland Storms in the circle when we come back on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. We'll give you her stat lines when she comes back, when the junior from Winter Springs gets to work. So, if you're just joining us, 5-0 Spartans lead, and Ashland Storms takes to the circle.
Ashland Storms, this will be her 6th appearance of the season. She is 0-0 in the 1-loss category, but 4.20 ERA, has pitched 13 1/3 innings. And so, as I mentioned, Ty Singleton obviously had seen enough from Lacey Marty that he goes to Storms, who is actually a junior. His senior could not get the job done, senior starter. And a tough situation for Storms to come into here on the road, and her team already trailing 5-0 in only the bottom of the 3rd.
Always tough when you have to face the second best team in the nation here at U Tampa. DeSimone squaring up. The count's going to go 1-1. Although, I don't know whether it should be 0-2. Yes, it is 0-2. The first pitch was fouled away as it got away from Maseda. Hammonds, who's the pinch runner, would have been able to stay at second if that was ball 1. So DeSimone in a little trouble. That ball gets away and can score a run. Safe is Russo. Nope, a pinch runner comes home safely in place of Alexa Russo. That was Abby Johns making it to home plate. 6-0 Spartans lead. Hammonds in scoring position as the count goes 1-2.
Yeah, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but going from bad to worse for the Sailfish, not only allowing the run to score, but the runner at second for the Spartans now, as you see the fly out by DeSimone.
So DeSimone can't make lightning strike twice with RBI-based hits, although one run did score during her at-bat, so she can be a little satisfied about that outcome. And now it'll be up to DiMartino, who is looking for better luck this time around after an unlucky ground out that deflected off the third base player and was picked up at short in her first try.
A good composure by DiMartino on that pitch. It was awfully close and wasn't phased. Obviously, there was no contact. Did not hit her, but have to admire that from the youngster. As the count even now at 1-1.
DiMartino level in the count. She'll float one foul, and Tampa down to 2 strikes with 2 away, and a runner at second base.
And don't forget, they were down 2 strikes with 2 outs when DeSimone responded with the bases clearing triple. So don't write DiMartino off yet.
She'll stay alive as the count goes 2-2. Close breaking ball, as that'll add a little layer of drama and pressure to this next offering. Good protect by DiMartino. Would have been ball 3. Goes around, but does manage to stay alive. DiMartino's the team leader in strikeouts this season, but obviously not a surprise as a freshman to have a couple extra strikeouts at the plate in a season. Still sort of getting used to D2 level pitching. And DiMartino has still converted most of the time, 286 average, and gets on base at a 327 rate. This will not be one of those times. Strike 3, painted on the outside corner. Storms with a big strikeout to strand a runner at second. But the Spartans scored 2, chasing Marty out of the game to extend their advantage entering the top of the 4th. So we are ready to go with a brand new inning. And it is Palm Beach back at the plate against Gwen McGinnis. And McGinnis is taking on the stellar shortstop who's made some great plays on defense, but also has a base hit with a single. Strike 1 on that swing and miss. I wonder if that was a piece of tape or something that was fallen off the bat or whatever that was just tossed back to the dugout. Either way, that is going to be ball 1 now, missing outside from McGinnis. Fouled, 2 strikes now for Evany Rodriguez. Rodriguez has had only 1 error this season through 14 games this season. I imagine most of them will have been at shortstop. Hit to third. Nice grab by Russo. A hard hit, but perfectly stopped by the senior. 1 away.
It looked like a Russo response to some of the fielding that Rodriguez has been doing in retiring her here in the top of the 4th. It's worth noting that the Sailfish still just 1 hit in this game.
That came all the way back in the first inning off a grounder that split the defense and wasn't able to be secured by DiMartino, our shortstop. But everything else has ended up as a Spartan out when it's been put in play. just like that last one, over to Alexa Russo. Now it's a 1-1 count from McGinnis to Maceda. Maceda had a pop-up in foul territory that it was picked up by Russo last time. And this time, I think she'll do it again. Well, no, that goes off the dugout, but Russo is giving chase. 2 strikes now for McGinnis, who might be looking for strikeout number 5.
Sailfish need to get better at getting ahead in the count.
You can't afford to fall behind against a player like Gwen McGinnis. Someone who is very prone to leaving you seeing strike 3 with a swing or blowing it by you as you look at it. That's going to be hit up the middle. DiMartino gets a read on it, and her throw is nice and on target. Good job reaching over to make the grab, though, by Soltz. Out number 2.
I'm happy for McKenna DiMartino, though. That's an important out for her. It did require a little bit of hustle, a lot of timing, a lot of speed, and able to get out number 2 here in the top of the 4th.
It's been a tough burden for her to replace a Spartan legend in Stephanie Ballmer this season, but I think Coach Cantor and the Spartans as a whole have to be happy for DiMartino getting more comfortable, setting in, and providing a lot of help on offense as well in her freshman season. I believe she's a true freshman as well, so kind of even harder to do as well. Nice breaking ball. Palm Beach down to their final strike. Shear does not want to go down for the second time today via strikeout. 0-2 from McGinnis. Swing and a miss. 5 strikeouts and 4 shutdown innings from Gwen McGinnis. We're headed to the bottom of the 4th. Spartans still lead 6-0. Bottom of the 4th at U Tampa. A lot of Spartan action this weekend, and we're getting started on Friday night with the first game of the 3-game series. Tampa men's baseball is on the road against Palm Beach as well this weekend. And Bruce, I know there's also going to be Spartans lacrosse here at home this weekend. All those games can be watched on the Sunshine State Conference digital network, and you can also watch Reynolds rounding second, going for a leadoff triple. A perfect line drive into the gap. Great start from the Spartans second base player.
We're going to have to look up the stat for this season, but Spartans, lots of extra base hits in 2025, and I'm talking doubles and triples almost hand in hand. I'd be surprised if the numbers aren't fairly close to each other, and that's just the latest. It's the second triple this game.
Yeah, 2 triples today for U Tampa. 16 of them on the season, which is a pretty impressive number over 25 games now. Tampa also has 29 doubles in the season, thanks to the one they had earlier today. Now, I know with this new plate appearance, Lauren Fantone would love to get a double to bring home the run. But anyway, for the Spartans to score the 7th run, I think will be useful for Fantone and U Tampa. And won't do that here as that ground ball goes all the way to the outfield in foul territory. So 1-2 count now for Storms, who continues in the circle after replacing Marty after 2 1/3 innings in the circle. Floated foul. Fantone stays alive.
That's a nice pitch by Storms to fool Fantone into reaching for one that she should have let go.
Righty on lefty, the 1-2. Fouled again. Fantone doing a great job of protecting. She's only struck out 7 times this season in 79 at-bats. That is the Spartan at-bat leader for the season. Keister's right behind her in the order and also at 76 at-bats on the year. This one's going to end with a blooper. That gets down. Called foul. And a surprise look over from both Spartan coaches, from Cantor down at third base and Denise Rubio over at first base. Rubio was right next to the softball. She saw where it landed. So bad news from the Spartans as Reynolds will stay put. The count stays 1-2.
I don't know if we're allowed to disagree with the umpire calls, but they do say that it's easier to ask for forgiveness later than permission first. And wow.
Good grab by Sear. Keeps the runner at third and gets out number 1, beating Fantone by half a step. I think Fantone might feel a little disappointed that the blooper earlier didn't count for a base hit. It'll be up to Keister to try to bring the run home now with 1 away.
Yeah, this is one where they'll pull out the video and look at it, and it's not going to do you a whole lot of good.
This one also is foul.
But just to kind of put your suspicions to rest, it's one that Leslie Cantor will probably look at. It's not going to change anything, but might be worth filing away somewhere digitally.
1 to Keister. That's going to go up and will drop as it's caught at third.
And some people might say, is it really that big a deal in a game that's 6-0? And the minute that you stop taking every play as serious as the one before it, that's when you start getting into trouble. You start relaxing, you start taking a play off, and it leads to a mistake that's going to transfer over to another game and to another game. You just can't have that.
Yeah, those types of miscues can compound, and Tampa's benefited on the other end of those, where teams that have led late against the Spartans have sometimes had late-game collapses. Notably, the start the win streak, Tampa manufactured a 6-run bottom of the 7th inning against West Alabama after trailing 5-0 with 1 away in the bottom of the 7th. Also recently, Tampa had a 3-run bottom of the 7th to walk off and keep their streak alive. But Tampa's going to leave a runner at third after the catch by Sear. And that controversial blooper means that Tampa can't bring home a run. Unfortunate for the Spartans, but as we enter the top of the 5th, still a nice Tampa lead. We'll see if McGinnis stays strong in the circle when we come back. Due up for Palm Beach Atlantic is Little, Sibbett, and Campbell. The trio, the freshman, junior, and sophomore, are all 0 for 1 today. McGinnis looking to stay strong in the circle. 4 innings of one-hit softball with 5 strikeouts. Really dominant stuff, but something that Spartan fans are certainly accustomed to on the year. McGinnis great at preventing hits and getting strikeouts. She only has a 198 average surrendered for the season. This might be one of the best Spartan pitching staffs in team history as the count goes 1-1.
Taylor, I had mentioned before that the Sailfish are really going to have to get things together before time becomes a factor. And At the rate that both teams are going, I'd say time is officially a factor, even though we're quote-unquote only in the top of the 5th.
For sure, especially because there's only 9 outs for the Sailfish to go to try to come back from this deficit. And there's 2 strikes now to Little, which could take that number down to 8.
And I know that the Spartans fans who are watching are going to say, don't do that. It's a broadcaster's curse. But I had mentioned already that the Sailfish only have 1 hit this entire game. And as you pointed out, that was in the first inning.
And we almost had another case of the commentator's curse there, but McGinnis makes sure that the second hit didn't come on that little roller to the circle. 1 away now in the top of the 5th.
But that's precisely my point.
Exactly.
Now they're down to just 8 outs, and they've got to get their hitting shoes on to begin with. Never mind trying to find a way to manufacture 6 runs just to tie it.
Just to tie it is key, especially when you think about how the Spartans will still have more chances for the entirety of their offense to step up to the plate at that time. The 0-1 from McGinnis fouled away, and Sibbett quickly down 0-2. She was a strikeout recipient last time against Gwen McGinnis.
McGinnis has been so efficient with her pitches.
Swing and a miss. It'll be 6 strikeouts now for Tampa's number 19. 2 away in the inning. And indeed, Bruce, very economical. Only 63 thrown so far.
Yeah, that's approximately 4 pitches per batter.
That's going to be fouled away for strike 1. The 0-1 from McGinnis. That's going to hit for strike 2. 1 more strike, and McGinnis gets out of the jam before one even starts to try to bring up the Spartans offense for a little more action. And didn't get it yet. Scott Boswell, the home plate umpire, says that she didn't go around. It's Boswell and Christopher Wirt as our umpires today. Normally, if we had a doubleheader, they'd flip positions for Game 2. We'll see if any of them return for tomorrow's doubleheader. Although I know those two are frequent for some of these Sunshine State Conference showdowns. I do want to give a shout out to our umpires. They help make these games possible. So another 2-strike, 2-out pitch coming up from McGinnis. Campbell popped out last time. Barely stays alive this time. She is protecting, and protecting some more.
Yeah, Caitlin Campbell is really trying to get something out of this at-bat and try to keep this inning alive for the Sailfish.
And that'll miss for ball 2.
She's really, really working this at-bat against McGinnis, and good for her for doing so. Trying to get McGinnis to throw a little bit more than has been the case.
Strike 3. Got Campbell looking. And McGinnis ends a lengthy battle, painting the outside corner. And Tampa will bring up Galehouse, Russo, and Solt when we come back on TampaSpartans.tv. Currently, the Tampa team ERA entering today is 1.11. That would rank 8th for the all-time best pitching staffs in Tampa history in terms of the lowest ERAs. That is how lethal the Spartans have been in the circle. They have also been very good at the plate. A bunt single for Mariah Galehouse.
And that's one that'll really catch Storms and the Sailfish off guard. Not expecting a leadoff bunt from the number 4 hitter.
Yeah, I think Galehouse is one of the last people you expect to lay down a bunt in that situation, but picks up a base hit by catching the defense off guard. Now it's picked up at third and rolls away from Sear. So 2 back-to-back bunts put 2 aboard for Tampa.
And that was probably Leslie Cantor's strategy precisely, is exactly what you said, Taylor, that Mariah Galehouse in the number 4 spot is not someone that you'd expect to come and lead off the inning with a bunt. So they get her aboard, and then Russo follows, and albeit an error, but runners on first and second, nobody out, and already a 6-run lead. I think the bottom is falling out for the Sailfish here.
Storms will have to lock in as she'll fire strike 1 past Abby Solt. I think Tampa, that was a smart call by them to go for the bunt there. I think it was Coach Cantor looking at the offense, saw how they had the 3 straight outs, and said, you know what, let's put the Sailfish infield to work here on those plays and see if that kind of sparks something. And it looks like it might have, depending on how this at-bat wraps up for Abby Solt. She is down 0-2.
Yeah, to an extent, even though it's 5 innings in, you're always looking for weaknesses, and if you can find something that you can take advantage of. Obviously, we saw some great play at shortstop from Rodriguez.
Solt with a swing and a drive. That one is gone. See ya. A 3-run shot for Abby Solt. And like you said, Bruce, weakness found. Solt gets home run number 3. Now, even though it's conference play, I think that's the run rule. I think we have done it. Solt sends the Spartans to history with a 3-run shot. Tampa have won 20 games in a row.
And in grand fashion, too, as you've pointed out many times, Taylor, we do not see a lot of home runs in this park. And wow, Abby Solt made no mistake with that one. And the Spartans not only continue to win, but so many victories via shutout lately, and this just the latest one. And a great, great victory as they finish with 9 runs on 9 hits and 1 error, whereas the Sailfish, no runs on just 1 hit and 1 error for a, 20th consecutive victory for the Spartans.
That is the all-time Spartans' longest win streak off of a dominant performance today. Gwen McGinnis was just 1 close play away from a no-hitter, but can still be satisfied with a 10th win on the season over 5 shutout innings. The strongest winning streaks beforehand were back in 2019 from March 9th to April 19th, 19 in a row, and back in 2012 where Tampa went from February 19th to March 24th, winning 18 in a row. But today, Tampa makes it the Big 20 with a 9-0 advantage against Sunshine State Conference foe Palm Beach Atlantic.
And the bad news for the Sailfish is that they got to come right back here tomorrow for a doubleheader against the Spartans that starts at 12 noon. So they're going to have to really regroup overnight and come ready to play tomorrow after the Spartans put up 4 in the first, 2 in the third, 3 in the fifth for the 9-0 victory.
Solt brought home the first run of the game via walk and clears the bases for the final runs of the game via home run. Always good to see a home run at Nemole Family Stadium and to see a Spartan victory. I'm Taylor Storthy, joined by Bruce Wozniak. We'll see you tomorrow on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. And also keep in mind, Spartan sports are active all weekend long here and on the road for Tampa. As Tampa now will look to make it a